direct link sent. Yeah.
Hey folks, I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'll just open the YouTube link here so that I can look at your comments. Good evening Navjot, good evening Divyanshu. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Vinayak, there is a webinar going. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Yes, sir, you're audible. Awesome. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes so that more people can join in, and yes, we'll begin after that. Hello again, Divyanshu. Alright, we have doubled up the number of participants. Today's session is going to be about what exactly are the important topics in CAT so that you at least can aim for a 99 percentile, and how exactly do we ensure that. I hope this session helps you, because if you're just preparing or starting on your CAT preparation journey right now, if you know what to prioritize upon, gives you a head start in itself. Having said that, it's not a given that these particular topics will be, always asked by CAT, because you never know what kind of questions we might expect from an exam like CAT. But at least it will give you an idea, or at least these are the trends that we have seen in the past few years of the CAT exam, that these are particular topics or subjects that we should be prioritizing upon. We'll just wait for 1 or 2 more minutes so that we can have a bit of peace here, as well as you can be prepared for the presentation ahead. Okay, so let's start. Before we know about what exactly are the main topics that you should be prioritizing upon, let's just understand how exactly does CAT preparation look like. I have been trying to cover that on different kinds of lenses when we view different kinds of topics, when we view it from different kinds of lenses on how exactly your CAT preparation journey might look like. Another lens that I have been trying to portray here is that, there are two categories of students. There are certain students with weak fundamentals, there are certain students with strong fundamentals. Weak fundamental students might require a lot more preparation than strong fundamental students, but having said that, it's not a given that even if you have strong fundamentals and you are not disciplined or you're not consistent about your preparation, you will be able to crack CAT with a 99 percentile. Like, I will take myself as an example. I had given CAT in 2016 and scored a 99.97 percentile. So I had like decent enough fundamentals, because I had cleared JEE exam before that as well. And I felt that my quantitative aptitude is very, very good, while my VRC is almost decently level good, and DILR was also decent level good. But having said that, in 2017, when I appeared for CAT again, and I was not consistent with my preparation, I failed to score a 99 percentile even. So it does not help that you are not consistent even if you have strong fundamentals. What gives you an extra edge over when you have strong fundamentals is basically, let's say, you may be able to grasp things better, and you may be able to do better right from your initial level of mocks as compared to people with weak fundamentals. But having said that, again, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. I'm sure you might have read that quote somewhere. So hard work always beats talent. So even if you're somebody with strong fundamentals that brings in your talent, hard work by weak fundamental student can always beat that talent if you're consistent about your preparation, if you're disciplined about your journey, and if you're practicing a lot. Okay. Then next comes, there are two types of students as well. There is one who prepares with a bottom-up approach and the other prepares with a top-down approach. What exactly do I mean by that? These are actually consulting terms, so you will be hearing that a lot if you're actually hoping for a career in industry, in consulting industry, bottom-up and top-down. So bottom-up approach in CAT preparation looks like, let's say you have started with your live lectures, you have started with your conceptual learning first, and then you are taking up sectionals, and then you're taking up mocks. So you're not directly jumping to mocks, but you're learning that concept first, you're getting well through thorough in that, and then attempting the papers. The top-down approach works in reverse cycle, that you're taking the sectionals and you're taking the mocks first, identifying strengths and weaknesses, and then going to that respective conceptual videos or that respective live lecture or that respective application class or practicing more about that. So there are two ways of preparation, and it can work for either category of students. If you're somebody who has strong fundamentals and goes with top-down approach, it usually becomes faster to prepare for CAT. But having said that, it entirely depends on you what exactly works for you, and you start realizing that as soon as you begin with any kind of approach that you're planning to start your preparation journey from. So even if you are somebody with a weak fundamental, you should obviously be starting off with bottom-up approach, because you would want to learn the concepts first and then jump onto sectionals or mocks. But if you're somebody with strong fundamentals, you can take up both approaches and figure out what exactly works for you. Hello Saksham, good evening. And what exactly are the characteristics of a 99 percentile? There are multiple characteristics. I might have missed out on a few, so I'll just enumerate it here. The first and foremost is, like I said multiple times, if you're not consistent and disciplined with your preparation, there is a surety that you will not get a 99 plus percentile. Ask anybody who has got a 99 plus percentile or any top scorer of CAT, they will always say practice and consistency is always the key. So if you're not consistent and disciplined about your preparation, that definitely ensures that you're not getting there. So to do that, the prime characteristic of a 99 percentiler is consistency and discipline in their preparation. Second is knowing themselves well and throughout. What does that mean? That you know well what your strengths and weaknesses are, not just topic wise, not just section wise, but also what kind of mistakes you make, what kind of approach you have towards appearing for a paper. Let's say you are taking a mock, what kind of approach do you have? Do you see through all the questions first and then start attempting, or do you attempt straight away? If a certain question is taking a lot of time, do you continue solving that problem, or do you skip over it and move on to the next question? What kind of approach works well for you, or what kind of approach do you feel that is right for you? So knowing yourself in and out will actually help you during your mocks, during your sectionals. It will make you realize what works and what does not, and that actually helps in the CAT exam date as well. So these are the primary pointers that I wanted to point out in your CAT preparation journey. This is like a 101, that there are two categories of students, there are two types of students in that respective category as well. And a typical characteristic of a 99 percentile is they are consistent and disciplined, they know themselves well and throughout. And of course that they equally diversify across three sections, whatever their CAT preparation time and study plan looks like. That is the third pointer that I might have missed out on here. Any questions until now? For those of you who might have joined in late, I'll just reiterate. I first talked about there are two categories of students, weak fundamentals and strong fundamentals. But having said that, in both the categories, you'll have to be consistent about your preparation, because I took myself as a primary example that I had scored a 99.97 percentile in 2016, but I was not consistent with my preparation, so I failed to score a 99 percentile in 2017. Then I went back to consistency and having strong fundamentals. I cleared 2018 CAT with 99.83 percentile. And within these respective categories, there are two types of students who have different kinds of approaches towards their preparation. One is a bottom-up approach and one is a top-down approach. What is a bottom-up approach? Bottom-up approach basically means that you go to the live lectures first, you understand the concept videos first, and then start practicing the problems or start taking up sectionals or start taking up mocks. While the top-down approach basically is that you do the practice questions first, you do the assignments first, you do the sectionals and mocks first, realize what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then take up learn the conceptual videos or go towards the respective concepts where you are finding yourself to be weak at, and then learn about those concepts and go to the live lectures of the respective topic. These are the different approaches to preparation. within the respective category of students. In weak fundamentals, if you are somebody with weak fundamentals, it is usually recommended that after taking one mock, maybe perhaps to get an idea, you should go with the bottom-up approach, which is learning first and then going on to do the practice sessions. But if you are somebody with strong fundamentals, either of the approaches can work for you. And the third, I wanted to cover that what exactly are typical characteristics of a 99 percentiler. So consistency and discipline is like the primary. And second is that you ought to know yourself well and throughout. You ought to introspect while appearing for mocks, while doing the live lectures, that what exactly is your strength and weakness, and not just topic wise, not just section wise. Like I'm not just considering that quant is my strong suit and VRC is my weak suit, or in quant algebra is something that I fear, but geometry is something that I really love. I'm also talking about what kind of approaches towards attempting a paper you have. Like, do you make silly mistakes more? Do you make time-bound mistakes more? Do you go through all the questions first and then attempt, or do you start attempting and then eventually reach the last question? Sometimes not, maybe in an exam like CAT. And within that as well, do you, like, if you find a question that you have been stuck at for 4 to 5 minutes, you know that you will be able to solve it, or you might not. So do you continue solving that, or do you skip it and move on to the next question and then come back to it later? These are different kinds of approaches to attempting an exam. What kind of a student you are, what works well for you. It might be different for different people, because CAT is basically a time management and an accuracy game as well when you are actually giving the exam. So what might work for you might not work for somebody else. So knowing yourself well and throughout actually helps you achieve the best percentile that you can. And third and last but not the least is, of course, diversifying your time, which I missed out on here, that diversifying your time equally across the 3 sections so that you don't miss out on any of the section, and your percentile score overall has a higher chance of getting to 99 plus. All right, now let me check if there are any questions. Hello sir, should I study quant, LDRI, VRC every day, or should I dedicate 2 to 3 days per week for each subject? नहीं, you should study it every day, because CAT exam में भी है ना आपका एक साथ ही आएगा. You will have 2 hours, 40 minutes for VRC, 40 minutes for DLR, and 40 minutes for quant. So weekly करना is not that recommended. If you can, there is no question of if, you should be doing it daily. आप dedicate कर सकते हो in respective sections in a way that, let's say, you're not taking up 2 to 3 RC sets, so at least you're denoting some time for reading. In VRC हो गया ये आपका. In quant, if you're not taking up, let's say, 10 to 12 questions every day, just 4 to 5 questions and watching some conceptual videos. In DLR, 2 to 3 sets नहीं हुए तो 1 to 2 sets, but diversifying it across the week से ज़्यादा अच्छी strategy होती है, to do it daily so that your mind gets trained to see all the 3 different kinds of sections almost on a daily basis. तो जब CAT में exactly यही होगा, you will not feel uncomfortable, you will not feel somebody in an alien kind of environment, because you have been used to this throughout your preparation journey. Seeing it all at once in a single day will be helpful for you. ठीक है. Now let's see. Are there any further questions? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next slide. Chalo. So let's start with what can be the priority topics in each of these respective sections is. Quantitative aptitude asks 22 questions. Should we start first? Exactly where I am reaching, Divyanshu. Thank you for asking that question. Quantitative aptitude, 22 questions. 22 questions, how exactly is it bifurcated? Arithmetic से 8-9 questions on a general basis आते हैं CAT trends में. Algebra has roughly around 5 to 6 questions. Geometry has roughly around 5 to 6 questions. Numbers 1 to 3. Series, logs, PNC, permutation, combination हो गया उसमें से 2, 3 या 4. And miscellaneous questions से 1 to 2 questions. But having said that, if you are an older student, or if you might have attempted CAT 2023, you would have seen कि CAT 2023 में arithmetic से 8-9 क्वेश्चन तो आए, पर algebra से भी almost 8 या 9 या फिर 7 क्वेश्चन तो आ ही गए. तो CAT 2023 was a paper जहाँ पे they almost equalized the weightage of arithmetic and algebra respectively, while reducing the weightage on geometry की hardly 2 to 3 questions, number hardly 2 to 3 questions. PNC पे तो शायद एक ही question था throughout 3 slots, and miscellaneous again 1 to 2 questions. So it can vary. This gives you a generic idea, but it can always vary. So what our point is here, that arithmetic and algebra has consistently become the topmost priority, and geometry later on, and number system and so on. Having said that, what you should start off with is what Divyanshu's question was. You can either start off with number systems. Why that? because despite number system having a very low weightage, which becomes a crucial reason on why students end up deprioritizing it. अगर आप नंबर सिस्टम से स्टार्ट करते हो तो वो आपका एक बेस बना देता है. इफ़ यू आर क्लियर एंड वेरी कंफर्टेबल विद नंबर सिस्टम्स, यू विल बी इजीली बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड अरिथमेटिक हो गया, अलजेब्रा हो गया, ज्योमेट्री हो गया, पीएनसी हो गया स्पेशली, एंड सीरीज एज वेल. सो number systems actually builds up a strong base, is why iQuanta CAT 2024 course also started with that, and you should also start with that. Otherwise, what you can start off with, if you're not taking any coaching and you're self preparing, you can also start with arithmetic, because it's the highest weightage topic in CAT consistently. So you can start off with that, and it's easier to understand. Arithmetic के क्या क्या topics होते हैं we'll cover in the next slide. But having said that, these are the two primary topics, Divyanshu, which I think you can start off with. Number systems, why? Because it actually creates a base for the other topics, as well as sometimes DILR and DILR as well. And arithmetic, because उसका weightage सबसे ज़्यादा रहा है हमेशा. Number system से अगर if you are not already enrolled in iQuanta CAT course, do enroll. वहाँ पे number systems की live lectures already चालू हो चुके हैं. There are a lot of practice sessions already held, and a lot of application classes and assignments that are already done. So if you have not enrolled yet, enroll now and look through them. Otherwise, yeah, you can take up arithmetic as well. How to tackle brain fatigue after job hours? Good question. Have a cup of coffee, relax, take a moment, take a break, and consider like you are reading, or deflect those kind of things to later part of the day, like reading something or doing RCs, because those are not that much grilling your brain, let's say, as compared to a DILR set. So consider doing those kind of things in the morning before your work, like quant भी उतना ज़्यादा नहीं, but DILR sets, consider them doing in the morning while you're fresh and up front. And after the brain fatigue, relax first of all, take a deep breath, have some coffee, have your dinner, and post that. Before that, you can take up some RCs or take up any kind of reading, and post that you can attempt the quant questions. Hopefully that helps, Pratish. We have also tried to reflect this in a kind of a bar chart, where you see arithmetic is almost 35% of the total weightage on a general basis, while algebra and geometry roughly have around 22 to 25%. Modern math and number system have roughly around 10% each. Okay, so this is the priority order of their respective weightage, but having said that, this should not be the priority order of your preparation journey as well, because like I said multiple times, number systems, if you're clear and comfortable with number systems, it actually ensures that you give up 50% of your effort in other topics, and वो टॉपिक इजीली क्लियर हो जाते हैं. पर नंबर्स नहीं पढ़ा है तो उसमें शायद डबल द एफर्ट लगेगा, और उसके बाद वो टॉपिक उतना क्लियर हो पाएगा जो कि पहले वाले केस में नंबर्स पढ़े उन्होंने से हो जाता. ठीक है. Another important thing is quantitative aptitude में, because somebody again asked what exactly should we start off with, so it's not just about the topic. Within that topic, exactly what should you start off with also becomes crucial. How exactly do you sequence your preparation within these topics becomes crucial, because a certain subtopic might be needed or might be helpful in a lot of other subtopics that a particular topic has. Let's say take an example of arithmetic. अरिथमेटिक में सबसे पहले अगर परसेंटेज पढ़ लोगे तो दैट विल हेल्प यू इन प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, दैट विल हेल्प यू इन एवरेजेस, दैट विल हेल्प यू इन एलिगेशंस एंड मिक्सचर्स, समटाइम्स टाइम इन वर्क एज वेल, एंड डेफिनेटली इन SICI. सो अगर परसेंटेज नहीं पढ़ोगे, डायरेक्टली एवरेजेस या प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस से चालू करोगे, एंड यू माइट not be comfortable and might not be strong in certain fundamentals of percentage, so you'll have to you will be back to square one. You'll have to go through that cycle all over again, and उससे पूरा sequencing गड़बड़ करने से your preparation journey might have double the effort, double the time in what it could have if your sequencing was right. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of this particular sequencing, because this will actually help you in within the topic on what exactly to prioritize and what exactly to start off with, and then proceed to the next subtopic. Like if you'll see, if you would have purchased the hard copy of iQuanta material, which might reach you by Feb end, this we have tried to cover in the hard copy as well in this particular sequence, so that first you get a clear idea of what exactly the percentages are, what exactly a linear and quadratic in algebra is, and then proceed on to the more complex or more tougher topics, subtopics which might require some help from the previous subtopic as well. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. This should be very helpful in how exactly you can sequence your quantitative aptitude approach. Hello sir, I really wish for a call from IM ABC, and according to this profile for a gem, what would be a safe percentile? So Raj, in the description of this particular webinar, there is an IM call predictor. You can check that out, and you can just enter that profile details there, and target B school percentile सब कुछ आपको वो बता देगा कि किस percentile पे आपका कौन सा B school का conversion आएगा, and what exactly your percentile should look like. That is tech based and that is AI based, so that will be a better answer than me giving out a more human prone answer. So you can check that link out, Swaraj. So how much hours should I dedicate every day for my CAT preparation? I am in USA right now working in a hotel. Depends on your working hours. Chayan, if you would have seen the session that I held on how exactly to manage your CAT preparation with your work, if you're working, I had identified that you have to find interstitial spaces between your commute hours, and as well as other aspects that you should define what exactly is your working commitment hours, what exactly is your personal commitment hours, and then take out whatever time you can for your CAT study preparation every day, and then denote it across the 3 sections. So if you have not seen that, I'll suggest that go to the iConta channel on YouTube and check that out live. Check that out in the live section. You'll find that session and just skip through that and you'll find whatever you're looking for. How to stop the brain to wander around other things while studying? I mean, when doing quant, I think of VRC. Anuradha, to focus your brain actually will require a lot of practice. I don't know why you will think of VARC when you're doing quant. But having said that, I cannot straight away think of a solution right now. But yeah, you got to focus your brain by practicing only. You got to think about quant when you're doing VARC. I don't know, it can deflect to something like, let's say I had to watch this movie or something. That is done by timely practice. If you do any kind of question practice that you are doing, or you make it time bound, that actually helps you in creating a focus or creating a pseudo focus for your preparation. But I don't have an answer for if you're doing quant and your focus is deflecting to VARC, how to help you with that. Time bound preparation is what helps in building focus in general. Your mind does not deflect here and there, or even if it does, you practice that time bound, that मेरे को 20 मिनट में ही ये 10 क्वेश्चंस करने, और या फिर मेरे को 15 मिनट में ही ये 8 क्वेश्चंस करने, and I set that time limit again and again and again, and my brain starts thinking कि I have these 20 minutes, I have to completely dedicate it to quantitative aptitude right now. Also, reading helps a lot. My focus also used to deflect a lot, so I feel that building a reading habit did help me with improving my focus. Plus, there is a very book called Atomic Habits. You can go through that, and it actually has some suggestions and recommendations on how exactly to improve your focus as well. I have completed the number system, still I am not able to solve some questions. Why? अगर सब कुछ solve कर पाते दिव्यांशु, तो you might not have required practice or preparation at all, na? So even if you are not being able to solve certain questions, there might be a certain concept that you are not understanding or not very clear on right now. All it will take is understanding and analyzing what kind of mistakes are you making, and doing those problems again or doing similar problems again, and I think you'll be good to go. It's becoming difficult to handle college studies and CAT preparation. अगर आपका exam time around है, तो do prioritize your college exams. But apart from that, I had identified that on how exactly, if you are a fresher, how exactly to prepare for CAT in a particular webinar session here as well. If you have not watched that, you can go to iQuanta's YouTube channel and check that out in the live section. All right. So this was the sequencing: arithmetic में percentage, ratio, proportion, then average, then profit and loss, then allocation mixture, then time, speed, distance, then time and work, then SICI. Algebra में linear and quadratic, then inequalities, because linear and quadratic will provide you with the base, then maxima and minima, because maxima, minima and inequalities दोनों में linear and quadratic related question आ जाते हैं. AP and GP में sometimes we have to make those equations which are linear and quadratic. Polynomial and modulus, and functions and log. Functions and log के अंदर भी वो लोग कभी कभार linear and quadratic डाल देते हैं. Geometry, इसमें lines and angles first of all, then triangle, then circle, then quadrilateral. Mensuration में सारे combined करके भी क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं. देन कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री, उसमें भी कि ट्राइंगल को सर्कल के साथ टच करवा दिया या फिर क्वाड्रिलेटरल के अंदर सर्कल बना दिया, एंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली आर द रिस्पेक्टिव x and y coordinates. So this is the particular order in geometry. In number system, factors and multiples first of all, because you actually identify key what exactly are factors, how divisible a number is, and then jump on to remainder and divisibility, and then go on to LCM and HCF when you have actually identified what are the factors. तब आप highest common factors और lowest common multiple निकालते हो, then finding out the last digit and then trailing zeros. And in modern maths, PNC first of all, PNC is easier to understand if you are good with number systems, because it's basically selection and permutation and combination of selecting things or choosing things or making them arrange around. Then probability, then statistics, because statistics takes a bit of probability as well. Then set theory, because set theory will have a combination of bit of statistics as well as bit of probability, height and distance, and binomial theorem. All right. I hope I'm clear until now. I will see that is there any doubts. Can I attend the lectures from now onwards, or should I start from the first lecture? Dheeraj, if you feel that you are comfortable with the topics that have been covered before, which are factors and a few sessions on remainders as well, you can start from right now. But having said that, you can always, if you are enrolled in the course right now, you can always go back to the event section of your Facebook group and check the other live lectures out whenever you have time as well, if you just want to cover them, as well as the application classes. So you'll always find them across the event section on the respective Facebook group that you'll be added to as soon as you enroll. And even if you start from right now, that like today is a session around remainder theory 3, and which is a live session as well as an application class later on. So even if you have enrolled just now and you want to just watch that, you can start. But having said that, there might be a few concepts that have been covered in the previous session that you might have missed out on in the last week and a bit before. So you can just check them out in the Facebook group's event section. Sir, what to do if stuck in LOD 3 quant sections? Should I see the solution after trying or not? See, if you're just practicing that question, Nikhil, I suggest, I don't know what LOD 3 is, but if you're just practicing and if there is no time limit, I'll suggest that you take up a question for at least 5 to 10 minutes and continue that. Or you have a set of questions that you're practicing, right? 20 questions. Continue doing a lot of questions, because you might get a similar question which is more on the basic level of the previous question that you were not able to solve, and you might realize a certain hint that you were missing out on. So continue on those questions and then try to look at the solution. Solution should come in at the end, because it actually does become an easier way to prepare, and our brain always, in general, a human brain looks for the easier way out. So if you get in habitual to just looking at a solution as soon as you don't realize or you don't understand a question or are not able to solve it, that is never a good preparation strategy to have. You will not learn as much as you could have if you would have attempted it a longer, if you would have delayed watching that solution. The Hindu newspaper is good or not for starting the builds reading habit? Building reading habit, Devanshu, it is good. You can check certain articles or opinion pieces out. So it is good. It is informative. Chalo, quantitative aptitude is covered. Now let's move on to logical reasoning and data interpretation section, LRDI, which basically has 20 questions. 20 questions. What are 20 questions? It basically means 4 sets with 5 questions each. DI mein what kind of topics might cover? There is no syllabus and weightage defined in LRDI, so it becomes a bit tougher to practice, or even tougher to learn or even prepare for. But having said that, there are always ways. You can always practice. You can take up any previous year mocks. 2000 से 2014 तक, 2000 से 2014 तक they were a bit easier. 2017 also had a bit easier side of LRDI. So you can take that up right from iQuanta's website. वो free में available है and can be taken up as mocks or even as sectionals. And you can just attempt that and look at the solutions and analyze what kind of mistakes you are making or what kind of things you are doing. Those are the easier. उसके बाद से 2016, 2018 and roughly last 3 years में तो it has been only tougher. So there is no easy way than practice in LRDI. However, I missed that out in quant section. Quant section is one section where you can actually achieve 100% growth even if you think that you are right now at 0 in 4 to 5 months if your strategy is right, because there is a syllabus that is defined. There is a well set syllabus. There is a well set number of topics, there is a well set number of subtopics as well, and they are clearly defined. उनका sequencing और उनका weightage is also almost clearly defined, so it becomes easier for preparation of quant. So even if you are not sure or you feel that you are very weak in quant, 4 to 5 months of good conceptual learning and very much practice will get you to a 99 plus percentile, which is a bit tougher in, let's say, logical reasoning and data interpretation. Why? Because no set defined syllabus. तो कैसे prepare करें? कैसे prepare करेगा? एक ही आंसर है इसमें, practice. उसके अलावा there is no other way. You see a lot of sets, you see a varied amount of sets, you attempt 2 to 3 LRDI sets on a daily basis. That roughly translates to 300 LRDI sets. अगर आप daily उसको कर पा रहे हो, that roughly translates to around 300 plus LRDI sets by the time you are in mid-June or July, where exactly your mock preparation journey starts. तो mocks लेने से पहले अगर आपने 300 सेट कर रखे हैं तो you must have seen a variety of problems that can come in, and you'll be very confident to attempt any kind of mock that you're taking. But हाँ, the session is about topics, तो topics मैं cover कर लेता हूँ. DI में tables आती हैं, tables based questions different types के हो सकते हैं, line and bar graphs based questions हो सकते हैं, उसी में थोड़ा mix भी कर सकते हैं वो लोग. उसमें ही कुछ एडिशनल डाल दिया कि let's say ABCDE की सैलरीज दे रखी हैं, ABCDE का ही आपस में कोई अरेंजमेंट भी दे दिया, उसमें मिक्स क्वेश्चंस भी आ जाते हैं LRDI के. पाई चार्ट्स हो गए या क्वांट बेस्ड DI हो गए. एंड लॉजिकल रीजनिंग में द रिस्पेक्टिव टॉपिक्स आर क्यूब्स, लीनियर अरेंजमेंट, सर्कुलर अरेंजमेंट्स. पर डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन पूछना बंद कर दिया है कैट ने, कि आप पहले सीधे सीधे क्वेश्चन पूछ जाते थे अरेंजमेंट में कि ABCDEF है आपके पास 6 लोग और उसको लीनियरली अरेंजमेंट के ये 4-4, 5-5 कंडीशन है, तो बता दो कौन किसके साइड में बैठा है, कौन कैसा क्या बैठा है. सेम फॉर सर्कुलर अरेंजमेंट, कौन किसके बीच में बैठा है. बट इफ़ यू सी लास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स, जैसे 2017 2016 में एक क्वेश्चन आया था जहाँ पे उन लोगों ने बोल दिया था कि ये एक्चुअली एक एयरप्लेन सीट में बैठे हुए हैं, तो ABCDEF और आयल और विंडो सीट के हिसाब से डिफाइन कर रखा था अरेंजमेंट. एंड उसमें भी आयल सीट के एक्स्ट्रा पैसे इतने, विंडो सीट के एक्स्ट्रा पैसे इतने, लेग स्पेस के एक्स्ट्रा पैसे इतने. तो उसमें क्वांट मिक्स करके अरेंजमेंट, वो भी अरेंजमेंट डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ अरेंजमेंट मिक्स कर दिया था. सो कैट डज दैट ऑफन, that it mixes around the respective topics, so that if you're comfortable with one topic, the other topic might be a bit scary for you. But having said that, it should not be scaring you if you have done enough practice. If you have seen the variety of questions, you'll be able to clear it out. Venn diagram based question हो जाते हैं, distribution, selection, where PNC is used primarily, binary logics हो गया. Games and tournaments पे consistently cat has been asking a lot of questions, again mixed with let's say round robin kind of problems or knockout problems कि कितने गेम्स पर्टिकुलर टीम खेलेगी, कितना स्कोर है. पॉइंट बेस्ड गेम दे देते हैं कि सीधे सीधे राउंड रॉबिन नहीं पूछ रहे हैं, या सीधे नॉकआउट नहीं पूछ रहे हैं. पॉइंट बेस्ड हो गया कि हार जीत की बात ही नहीं हो रही है. अगर कोई हारा तो उसको 1 पॉइंट मिलेगा, ड्रॉ किया तो 3 पॉइंट मिलेगा, विन किया तो 5 पॉइंट मिलेगा. एंड उसके बेसिस पे लेट्स से पाई चार्ट दे दिया एंड सो ऑन. टेबल्स में भी मिसिंग नंबर्स दे दिए, नेटवर्क फ्लो डायग्राम बना दी. तो दे आर वेरी वेरी वैरायटी ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड दीज आर यूजुअली मिक्स्ड. Games and tournaments is one of the primary and arrangements is another one of the primary topics. But having said that, ये आपको बेस देगा. ये इसके क्वेश्चंस प्रिपेयर करोगे, प्रैक्टिस करोगे तो it will set you up for a base, but you will have to practice a lot of other variety of questions as well, so that you get comfortable with mix of questions as well. And another important point to note is कि LRDI में आपको बेसिकली इनका प्रैक्टिस तो करना ही है और मिक्स वगैरह का प्रैक्टिस करना है, बट बी प्रिपेयर्ड दैट देयर विल बी डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कमिंग इन एंड डिफरेंट मिक्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कमिंग इन. एंड इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट आपको बार बार कंडीशंस पे नहीं जाना पड़ रहा है, बिकॉज यूजुअली LRDI में क्वेश्चन कैसा आता है कि देयर इज अ पजल और देयर इज अ पैसेज जहाँ पे वो बेसिक आइडिया दे देगा कि क्वेश्चन में ये हो रहा है. लेट्स से देयर इज अ गेम बीइंग प्लेड, और लेट्स से यू हैव टू identify कि let's say there are 6 people and they are speaking 6 different languages and you have to identify who speaks what and to mix it up. They will also provide कि इन लोगों ने टीम बना ली, who is in which team. So those kind of mix of questions. It's very important that you create your own table or you create your own arrangement somewhere in your rough paper and only include the conditions there. If you're not able to create that particular table for yourself, and if you're not able to create that particular checklist for yourself in these kind of questions, you'll have to go back to that passage again and again. You have to go back to that conditions again and again, and that ends up wasting a lot of time on what exactly it might have had if you would have made your own table or if you have made your own arrangement. So it's a very important practice to have to understand how exactly to create your own table, as well as how exactly to create your own arrangement, so that you save a lot of time on not going back to that question again and again and not going back to that arrangement again and again. ठीक है, this covers LRDI. Any doubts? I am not able to see any doubts. I will just reload to confirm that if there are not any, I'll proceed. Great. So ये था LRDI का. LRDI में basically 20 questions, practice a lot, take up 2014 previous year paper, attempt them as sectionals and वो mocks की तरह आप ख़त्म कर सकते हो. LRDI टॉपिक के बाइफर्केशंस एंड डिटेल्स भी मैं आपको यहाँ बता देता हूँ कि पजल्स में अरेंजमेंट पजल्स हो गया, मिसिंग वैल्यू टेबल्स हो गई कि टेबल में कुछ कुछ डिफाइन कर देंगे, कंडीशन दे देंगे, पैसेज दे देंगे एंड कुछ में क्वेश्चन मार्क डाल देंगे. वो क्वेश्चन मार्क फिगर आउट करना है या क्वेश्चन मार्क्स का एवरेज फिगर आउट करना है, उस टाइप के क्वेश्चन. बेसिस केसलेट, LRDI के बेसिस पे केसलेट दे दिया जाएगा या फिर सिलेक्शन बेस्ड पजल्स भी पूछ सकते हैं कि आपको बॉल सेलेक्ट करनी थी इन डिफरेंट और उसमें कुछ पजल मिक्स कर दिया. Venn diagram में there are different kinds of sets that can happen कि somebody was voting for somebody and somebody was interested in something and ये 2 sets 3 sets 4 set सब आपको एक सुपर सेट का सबसेट भी आ जाता है एंड मल्टीपल डायग्राम्स इन वन सेट वो भी आ सकता है. वेन डायग्राम पे मल्टीपल काइंड्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स दैट कैन बी आस्क्ड. Games and tournaments में there is knockout, round robin that I talked about already. There was a chessboard puzzle asked in I think 2017 or 18 where even if you did not know what exactly chess is, so they had clearly defined कि ये rules होते हैं, ये इतना move कर सकता है, black and white pieces होते हैं. But if you had already, if you were somebody who had played chess, you're comfortable with B6 क्या होता है और F6 पे अगर rook चला गया तो क्या होता है. But having said that, they had clearly defined it and then you had to solve some puzzles regarding that as well. Team composition puzzles हो सकते हैं that 5 people are speaking different languages and they are making 2 different teams. Who is in which team, what kind of languages prominently spoken by which team and so on. And tournament point system I have already covered. Quant based LRDI भी अचानक से बहुत बढ़ गया है इन CAT specifically in last 2 to 3 years. PNC पे concepts तो यूज़ होंगे but they are actually mixed with a lot of puzzles or a lot of arrangements. किसी भी चीज़ के साथ वो लोग mix कर देते हैं and they are just so there is not a set syllabus is what I am trying to suggest here. So PNC and statistics के concept यूज़ करके एक puzzle बना दी and they'll put it up as a passage, provide some conditions and you'll might have to create some table or you might have to create some arrangement around that. Like in statistics, CAT 2023, all slots had at least one set with mean median mode का question. So that is also something that you have to keep in mind. Concepts of number systems in set बहुत बढ़ गए हैं. Concepts of arithmetic भी आ जाता है कि percentage of profit lots पे पूछ दिया, इसके इनकम में इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ, किसी एक्स की इनकम में इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ, तो ए एंड बी कौन है एंड क्या है, दोज काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. समटाइम्स कंसेप्ट्स ऑफ ज्योमेट्री एज वेल. एंड देयर आर सम स्पेशल चार्ट्स, बाई एंड बाई चार्ट्स. बार चार्ट्स वो आपको बना के दे देंगे कि ये इसका ये है इनकम है एंड ये इनकम इतना परसेंटेज से इंक्रीज़ हुआ और लेट्स से कंपनीज रेवेन्यू वॉज बार चार्ट में दिखा दिया, ईयर ऑन ईयर बेसिस पे इतना इंक्रीज़ हुआ, तो 5 years डाउन द लाइन और 4 years डाउन द लाइन, इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन. स्टैक बार एंड लाइन चार्ट्स, हिस्टोग्राम एंड स्कैटर प्लॉट्स. LRDI में तो या चैन आई फील दैट द ओनली वे टू सक्सीड इन LRDI इज थ्रू प्रैक्टिसिंग अलॉट बिकॉज वर्ड प्रैक्टिसिंग तो उतना भी डरने की जरूरत नहीं है वैसे. डेली इफ यू just can take out some time because there are 4 sets being asked and you have to solve that in 40 minutes. That means basically 10 minutes per set, है ना. So अगर आप even if right now you take up 2 to 3 LRDI sets which will roughly require you to solve it in 30 minutes, 30 minutes of LRDI sets will actually translate to more than 300 sets by the time you're actually taking full length mocks, which is mid-June, July when the syllabus gets over of your conceptual learning. तो 30 मिनट्स पर डे अगर आप LRDI सेट को दे पा रहे हो तो आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स वे टू मच टू आस्क फॉर. एंड इफ यू डू दैट यू विल कवर सो मेनी वैरायटी ऑफ सेट्स that you will not feel uncomfortable in seeing any particular set now on because you might have solved a certain similar or related set previously. So it's very achievable, but yeah, the primary goal is to practice a lot. Otherwise there are a few other strategies as well which you can look up at iQuanta's homepage and just scroll down and there in the sir has mentioned a few other strategies as well. But what I personally believe is practicing is the name of the game for LRDI. From where should I start for LRDI? I will write my CAT exam in 2025 and can give my 1 hour daily. Divyanshu, you on iQuanta's website you will find the previous year paper like I said multiple times. उसका लिंक शायद इसके डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी है इस यूट्यूब में. तो आप प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर पे जाओ और वहाँ पे एज अ सेक्शनल आपको वो मॉक देने के लिए मिल जाएगा एंड यू कैन जस्ट स्टार्ट अटेम्प्टिंग फ्रॉम देयर एंड सी द सॉल्यूशंस. यू कैन स्टार्ट सीइंग देम एज puzzles to solve and take them up. उसके बाद सॉल्यूशन भी मिल जाता है एंड एनालिसिस भी मिल जाता है, तो दैट इज़ अ प्लस देयर. Next, we move on to VARC, Verbal Ability and Reading Comprehension. 24 questions, 16 questions on RCs and 8 questions on verbal ability. So the 4 sections that are mentioned in verbal ability, para summary, para completion, odd one out, para jumbles, roughly expect 2 questions each on each of these. Para summary पे भी हो गया, para completion पे भी हो गया, odd one out पे भी हो गया और para jumbles पे भी हो गया. And reading comprehension genre में basically there are 4 sets that are being asked and 4 sets में roughly 3 to 4 paragraphs होते हैं. So your reading speed is essentially expected to be good because 3 to 4 paragraphs in 4 sets roughly boils down to 15 to 16 paragraphs that you have to read, and it's actually almost 70% of the total weightage of the VARC section. 24 में से 16 questions, 2 by 3, almost 70%. तो almost 70% cover करने के लिए your reading speed should be good and your comprehensive skills should be good. There can be different kinds of topics or different kinds of questions that are asked. Sometimes inference based हो गया कि what exactly is the author trying to infer from this particular phrase. Sometimes tone based questions हो गया कि what exactly is the tone of this particular paragraph. Is it critical, is it analytical, is it judgmental, or is it euphemistic, or those kind of problems. Sometimes directly from the paragraph की एक factual चीज़ दी हुई है और वो factual चीज़ you have to find out and say negate it. Sometimes कि what exactly goes against, let's say if a certain statement is true, does that go in favor of the what the author is talking about in the passage, or does that go against, or does that weaken the author's argument, or does that strengthen the author's argument? So those kind of questions is what you can expect in our reading comprehension genre. But having said that, it's an easier nut to crack. Why I believe so? Because during your school time as well, you might have seen a lot of reading comprehension, right? हम लोग school time से RCs तो कर ही रहे इंग्लिश ग्रामर में, सीधे सीधे पैसेज आता था, पैसेज से सवाल आते थे and we were able to solve it. What we are supposed to do was find out the respective line in the passage and just write that as an answer. What differentiates CAT as a paper, क्यों नहीं आते फिर भी लोगों के marks, is CAT provides with tricky options. Tricky options में आपको silly mistakes के chances बहुत बढ़ जाते हैं. That let's say you think that the answer is C and you are not very sure of the option B, because there is a certain slight inference or slight analysis that you have to do to actually negate B, and it will always offer you an option of option D, B and C both. So a lot of people will make those kind of mistakes and end up having a negative -1 instead of getting a +3. So 3 मिलने वाला था because we knew that C was the right answer, but just because we saw D as both B and C and हमें लगा कि B भी almost थोड़ा थोड़ा सही है, हम लोग D मारे और सीधे 4 मार्क्स का नुकसान, 3 भी गया, -1 भी मिला. तो that is why CAT RC becomes a bit tricky, and there are few, like I said, the different kinds of different types of questions that it asks. It can become a bit trickier than the school days, but having said that, it's a very easy nut to crack because you can improve your reading speed starting from right now, starting from wherever you are preparing for, and you can have a lot of practice on these kind of questions to get a clear idea on what exactly is the kind of solution that the CAT is expecting, what kind of variety of question that can come in RC genre as well. And the different kinds of genres that RC asks is usually science and tech, business and economics हो गया, history and politics, philosophy and psychology पे आजकल ज़्यादा RCs आते हैं, art, society and culture पे भी आते हैं, and sometimes mixed, you have no idea. But having said that, people from engineering background will not have an extra advantage कि कोई science and tech related passage आ गया, because usually they provide you with very different sets of passage जो आपने कभी पढ़ा नहीं होता है और आपको भी कुछ नया जानने को मिलता है. So what my suggestion would be to read it like a story or read it like any news article that you might find, and then try to figure out how exactly to solve the problem, and be very careful about what exactly is the question asking, what exactly is the option about, and do not end up making silly mistakes there. And the weightages have also been defined there. RCs का, like I said, 4 sets, 4 into 4, 16 questions, 16 into 3, 48 मार्क्स का आपका RC हो गया, 24 into 3, 72 टोटल मार्क्स का आपका VRC होता है, उसका ऑलमोस्ट 67 to 70% आपका RC हो गया. सो RC अगर आप प्रैक्टिस कर लोगे, अगर आप यू आर वेरी गुड एट इट, it definitely ensures that you get a 95+ percentile. And verbal ability में आपका 8 में से 4 भी सही हो गया, सीधे आप 99+ percentile पे पहुँच गए. So this is what the summary of all 3 sections on what exactly are the topics that you should be prioritizing upon, what kind of preparation strategy you can have, what kind of sequencing you can have to actually prepare for the respective sections is what I wanted to cover. I hope this give you a clear idea on कि exactly कौन से topics आते हैं, कौन से topics मैं prepare कर सकता हूँ और how exactly to practice them upon, and it gives you a starting point to start from. उसके अलावा obviously there are live classes to attend, there are application classes to attend, वहाँ से practice sessions, assignment question करना ज़रूरी है. Take up as many questions as you can so that you cover the variety of questions available on cards, and I think you'll be good to go on the doomsday, which is maybe somewhere around in November Sunday for your CAT 2024. If you have any last questions, let me know in the comment box. Nahi? All right. Hope the session was a bit helpful. And yeah, if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, you might be missing out on these respective webinars. So do subscribe. And if you have not enrolled yet, you can enroll in iQuanta course still. The first batch is still going on. There has been a week of classes, but you can always find them on the Facebook event section. And in the description below, we have put up I am call predictors link where you can check out whatever profile based questions you might have. And there is also a link of a WhatsApp group which you can join for free, where there are free resources being available for CAT preparation, as well as free mentorship and counseling being available, as well as there is a community who will help you in any and all concerns and doubts that you might have. All right. Looking forward to seeing you in the next session, and